Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial where we're going to do some VFX, and it's going to be pretty simple and quick one actually, and we're going to make the effect here. And you can also see there is some post process that we have on it. I'm going to do that too. So it's actually pretty simple. It's just a position box that you have in visual effect graph, and then just some noise for the scale. So let's get started and do it right away. So we have an empty scene. And first off, we're going to create, let's see, visual effect graph. And we're going to make the minimal one. And I'm going to name it like this, scaling spheres. And open it up. So in this one, we're gonna do, in the spawning system, we need to spawn and we need to decide how many we're gonna have. So we can, in the properties, we can do the in the properties, we do the property, and we're gonna make an integer, and we're gonna make it dots amount. So when we spawn, we're just going to use this in here. We're going to have spawn and single burst, because we're only going to spawn the particle once and then keep it. So we're going to use in the initialize particle, we're going to have a node that's called set position sequential 3-dimensional. So in here, we're gonna just make a grid, a box grid of our dots. So let's say if we want, let's say we want, actually we're gonna rename this. This is gonna be resolution. So if we do the resolution of 8, then we need, or 10. If we do 10, we want 10 in the X direction, and then we want 10 in the Y direction. So 10 by 10 is 100. And then we want 10 in the Z direction. So this is like 10 by 10 by 10, or actually 10 by itself by itself. So that means we need 1000 particles. So in here, we need 1000 particles. And of course, to do it a little bit more procedural, we do this one and do a power. And this is going to be 3 times. And now, this one will be 1000, as you see there. So this is the same amount that we do here. So that's super nice. And we also need to make sure that in the capacity we have enough. So now we are able to do 1 million particles. And if you want even more, you need to raise this one. We're only gonna have 1000. So this is super nice. Now we have this one going. And also, I'm just gonna do this one. And let's see if we do the scene here. And if we zoom into the particles, and we can remove the ground for now. Here you can see the particles. And if we want some smaller amount between the dots, we can just do the resolution and we multiply it with half. And then we just do the, open these ones up and do in the X and in the Z and in the I and Z. So now we have the particles like evenly. And you can just change the resolution here. And we're also gonna set the size, and I'm gonna do it default to 1. Here you see, here we have them. And we're gonna change, so we don't want quads, we want we're gonna remove that one, and we're gonna make output particle shader graph mesh, because we want our own shader. So you see, now we have boxes, super nice. But we're gonna have, instead of a cube, we're gonna have spheres. So here we have that one, and we're gonna make our own shader. So create, and we're gonna do shader graph, URP lit shader graph. Also gonna name it like this, scaling spheres, and open it up. And here we're gonna have, let's see, in the properties, we're just gonna have a color. So plug it in the base color. And maybe you want to expose these ones too. I'm gonna leave them for now. And in the graph settings, very important, support VFX graph, click. So we're gonna save it. And in our VFX setup, we're gonna drag our shader in here. So you see, I'm not taking the shader, I'm taking the child shader of it. So now you can see we have dots like this. Perfect. So the next thing we're gonna do, it's gonna be, we're gonna use the, here in the update particle, we're gonna change the size. So we're gonna set size, and we're gonna use it with using a noise. So if we do Perlin noise, and if we do get position, so for each particle we get the position, and they have different position, and if we put it in here to the noise, and if we just plug it in here, you can see they have different sizes, and they are a little bit they are actually inverted here, some of them, because we have the range to -1. So we're going to change it to 0. So now it's always between 0 and 1. And we're going to sample this. So if we do a sample curve and plug this one in here, now we can control it more. And because we're going to lerp between 0 and 1, we can use this sample curve to kind of clamp it. So maybe we want the dots to be smaller, longer. So you see, we do like this. So we kind of clamp it, but we still do it with a smooth fall off. So here we're starting to get something. And what we're also going to do, if you change the frequency here, you can get different noise size. So this is how we're going to do it. So here you see we have some kind of noise. And also for this, we want different colors. And as I had in the reference, if we move this one up a little bit, you see the dots will never fully disappear. So I'm going to leave it to that, and we're going to make color. We're going to have 2 of them. We're going to be color 1, and we're going to have color 2, and we're going to use them and using a lerp, and this lerp going to be controlled by this noise here, because this noise is between 0 and 1. So we can just do this one here, and we can actually have a sample curve here too, because then we can control with the color, change it a little bit more, have a control here. So now we just need to make 2 different colors. So let's start with some red and green here. And you can see it's starting to get a little bit red, but we want it to happen earlier. So here we can just, if we click the dot and shift click, then you can move it like this without it going all over the place. And then we do the same with this side here. So now you can see it's starting to control where the dot's gonna change the color. So I would like to maybe have a little bit more like this, and let's actually raise this a little bit more. So we do it upwards. I want bigger dots. So now we actually, when the value is 1 over here, we remap it to 1.5. So here we have this, and now I'm just gonna make an add node here because I want to animate it. So if we do like this, and we add a time to this, so VFX time, and do the total time like this. Now you see we have it animating. Super nice. And then it's just about tweaking, and maybe you want the dots to be always a little bit bigger. So then you can kind of change it. Super cool. So I'm going to leave it like this, and we're going to tweak it to be a little bit more cooler. So this is the game view. So if we take the camera and reposition it in a really nice way. So if you have the main camera selected here, and then in the scene view, you find an angle that you like. If you then do Control-Shift-F, then you move your camera to that position. So let's say this one is good. And now in the main, so let's keep it like this. And in the main camera, I'm going to use change the background type to a solid color and do it black. And also we can control the colors. So I'm just going to save this one. So now we have it finished. And now we can tweak the colors a little bit. So now we just pick our colors. So here I'm gonna do some yellowish and do the intensity stronger like this. And the reason for this is because we're gonna add some effects to it. So this one we can do like this color. So it kind of looks okay, but we're gonna make it even cooler, because now we're going to add a post process. So if we right click and then we find volume and global volume like this. So in this volume, we can add our own effects. So I'm just going to create and find this, where is it? Volume profile. And I'm going to have the same name. So if we move this volume profile in here, now we have it saved here, so we know where the settings are. And then in this one, we're just gonna start off by doing some post process and do bloom. And So this is cool. And we also, I think I'm gonna have the colors a little bit stronger on this one. And let's see. We also gonna have some, oops, something happened. Please don't break. Okay, good. So we're gonna have yet another one. So we had a bloom, and we're gonna have a vignette. No, actually, we're gonna skip that one. I'm gonna make a color curves. And here, I'm gonna do override. And if I do like this, I'm gonna do, you can see here, I'm gonna do this, I call it S-curve. Usually say that in Photoshop. Kind of more contrast when you do this. If you used Photoshop, you probably heard about that. And I'm also gonna have this add screen space lens flare. And here you can do some kind of lens flare like this. So that's cool. And we can change stuff around here to make it different. So that's awesome. And the last thing I'm gonna add, I guess, is a tone mapping. So you can just take it on and off to see it. And I find it adds some cool extra effect. So this is kind of how I did it. And of course, you can just tweak it and make it cooler and so forth. But yeah, maybe you want to change the colors and you want to change the speed and stuff, or the resolution. So it's a little bit abstract, but I thought it was fun to do. So I really hope you enjoyed it. So thank you so much for watching.